Clipper Audio presents an unabridged recording of Lancaster and York, The Wars of the Roses, by Alison Weir. Narrated by Maggie. This work is copyrighted 1995 by Alison Weir. This recording is copyrighted 2012 by W.F. House Limited. These matters be king's games, as it were stage plays, and for the more part played upon scaffolds. Sir Thomas More. What about the getting of the garland, keeping it, losing and winning it again? It hath cost more English blood than twice the winning of France. William Shakespeare, King Richard III. The war between the houses of Lancaster and York was characterized by treachery, deceit, and bloody battles. Alison Weir's lucid and gripping account focuses on the human side of history. At the centre of the book stands Henry VI, the pious king whose mental instability led to political chaos, and his wife, Margaret of Anjou, who took up her arms in her husband's cause and battled in a violent man's world. Lancaster and York, The Wars of the Roses, by Alison Weir. Narrated by Maggie. Introduction. When I was working on my last book, The Princes in the Tower, I was aware that in some respects I was telling only half a story. I was writing about the final phase of that conflict so picturesquely named the Wars of the Roses. A conflict that lasted for more than 30 years, from 1455 to 1487. There were, in fact, two Wars of the Roses. The first, lasting from 1455 to 1471, was between the royal houses of Lancaster and York. And the second, from 1483 to 1487, was between the royal houses of York and Tudor. Having touched only briefly on the former in The Princes in the Tower, which describes in some detail the second phase of the wars, I felt that a prequel might be an interesting book with which to follow it. This present book, then, is the story of Lancaster and York, and the first of the Wars of the Roses. During the course of my research, I have studied many sources, both ancient and modern, and of the modern ones, nearly all focus primarily upon the practical and military aspects of my subject.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?